If Nintendo is known for anything outside of its lovable iconic characters, it's clean and intuitive game design. It's why players enjoy Super Mario titles long past childhood. Hardware inventions like the Nintendo Wii, which was in every American household. That too, 2017, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, a game that launched alongside the release of Nintendo Switch, was an all-encompassing example of intuitive courage. Breath of the Wild, expensive and beautifully diverse world, was a digital playground of satisfying puzzles, challenging enemies, and limitless gameplay. There were a million ways to do just about anything, and all ideas were encouraged. So before we continue, make sure to subscribe in my channel and hit the like button, and let's continue. When Nintendo announced a follow-up, The Legend of Zelda Tears of Kingdom, the studio spent 6 years improving upon just about every aspect of the game. What players put up when the game launches on Friday, May 20th is essentially the same game as Breath of the Wild, but the experience is massively enhanced. New abilities, more places to explore, and endless world of possibilities somehow made even more infinite. How, you might ask? Because this time we drop down from the sky. This right here is how you make a sequel. Link still inhabits the fantastical world of Hyrule, almost exactly as he left it before. Not that he ever remembers anyway. The Gorons still roll around the Death Mountain, but now something evil is making them sick. The Ritos tree canopy is freezing cold, the watery Zora's domain is polluted, and the Gerudo have been plagued by a classical undead Zelda enemy, making its grand reappearance. The princess is missing, Ganon has returned, and the land of Hyrule needs your help. It's all the nostalgia for Breath of the Wild you would want, but packed with exciting new dungeons to make even the familiar seem entirely original. Likewise, the feeling of the first landing on the map is just as unmatched. Without revealing too much of Tears of Kingdom's generation-spanning plot, the Zelda timeline theorists are going to have a field day with this narrative. Link's new powers are where the improved gameplay hits its stride. Ultra Hand can not only pick up and move any object in the world, but it can also fuse things together to build various vehicles and structures needed to traverse the map. You can also special machine parts, called Zonai devices, that come out of capsules dispensers around the world, making wheels, fans, or a source of fire more accessible. So yes, Zelda has cars and airplanes now. They can go very fast. A separate ability called Fuse lets you combine any object to your sword and shield. This not only improves the weapon's durability and strength, but Fusion provides added effects, as shown in the original gameplay trailer. Attaching a puff shroom to your shield creates a cloud of smoke that confuses enemies upon impact. Keys eyeballs attached to your arrows. They become homing missiles. Enemy horns can be equipped to the end of lances for greater power, and boulders can be wielded to the swords, which creates rock-breaking hammers. Like anything else in Zelda, if you think it might work, it probably does. My cooked base fish sword wreaked destruction on a few enemies earlier in the game. Two more movement abilities make traversing Tears of Kingdom's new vertical plan much easier. Ascend has Link's linking through ceiling like he is X-Men Kitty Pryde. The skill is useful around the map, but Ascend's application in various puzzles is the greater reward. It's the ability I forgot I had the most often, but also the one that when I remembered I could use it, felt the most satisfying. There is also Recall, which is probably the most hyped feature since the first trailer showed Link reversing time. You will use this one much like Stasis from the Breath of the Wild. Read all the time with Recall. Link can push away approaching enemies, or even ride on a top of rocks, which act as elevators to the Sky Islands after they crash down on Hyrule. Tears of the Kingdom has millions of applications. All of them rule. Now I have played more games in my life than I would like to admit, but it took jumping into Hyrule at the opening of the Breath of the Wild to really make me think about how game begins. Usually open world adventure like Elden Ring give inexperienced players quite a rude awakening, but Tears of Kingdom, a game I describe as a version of Elden Ring that usually nice to me. After playing a demo last month, is wholly unique in its approach. Kicking things off a huge sky, Tears of Kingdom tutorial world welcomes players in an environment that contains just about everything they will experience later. When you complete Tears of Kingdom's opening and dive off the Sky Island, the rest of the map is unlocked. Deep into a distance lies an imposing castle, a massive mountain and a waterfall that reaches back up into the clouds. None of its background art, you can reach everything you can see, and you will be rewarded for exploring every little inch. It is exhilarating, surprising and beautiful, all at once. That feeling is what video games are all about. Did I mention there is no loading screen between the sky and the ground? No matter how above or below the ground Link goes, the transition is seamless. It's something that could spell problems for the Switch aging hardware, but the console somehow handles Tears of Kingdom's map way better than the occasional Breath of the Wild lag. I saw below ground as well because it came as a shock to learn that the game expanded to not just a sky map, but a third map of vast, underground caverns called the Depths, where gliding around the sky feels freeing and magical. The Depths is dark, scary, and downright challenging. An evil and poisonous surface known as gloom covers the depths and it shatters your health so much that regular healing methods have no effect. It feels like the perfect solution for fans who may have been dismayed by Hyrule's sameness or its lack of pushing difficulty. I have yet to fully explore the depths and mine all its treasures, but that also goes for completing much of what Tears of Kingdom offers. Outside of the main story, which already takes Link all above Hyrule, the Sky Island and the depths, there is still an insane amount of content in Tears of the Kingdom. These aren't just your usual fetch quests. Either the title features much grander, optional missions called side adventures. With these, Link will often band together with Hyrule's soldiers to fight hordes of enemies, side by side. You'll have to do most of the pacing yourself, but the new features will have a little guy's aid in distracing and subduing foes as well. You will also practice in your fair share of shrine puzzles, horse collecting, Korok seed hunting, recipe crafting, and hundreds of new caves to explore. Yes, Caves is entirely separate network full of underground tunnels and rare treasures aside from the depths. It's enough gameplay to make your head spin, but that's why the adventure is all about. The graphics is obviously amazing when you go and discover places in Tears of Kingdom world. The cartoony graphics is perfect from the main character Link to the enemies, places and views. Tears of Kingdom is great from this point in graphics. If you couldn't tell by now, Gamers Tears of Kingdom is masterpiece. 2023 Game of the Year, most likely one of the greatest video games of all time. I will let the internet go crazy over that one. That said, where many open world titles have become stale or unplayable glitchy upon launch, the past two Legend of Zelda titles has craved out their own space in greatest of all time territory. True gamers may mock Nintendo or Zelda cutscene, cel shaded art, especially when compared to open world greatest such as Elden Ring, Sicario, Skyrim, The Witcher 3 and Red Dead Redemption 2, but nothing really captures a sense of adventure quite like Zelda does. Go to other games for medying difficulties or realistic looking people, which both obviously have their own currency. When you boot up Zelda, it's to attach a racket to the end of your lance and spank goblins sky high. Just like Grand Theft Auto, Hyrule, it's exhilarating, with the Nintendo Switch life cycle likely nearing its end. The Legend of Zelda Tears of Kingdom may also be the last great title we see on the platform. It marks a perfect port from Breath of the Wild as a launch title 6 years ago. Tears of Kingdom as a celebration of everything Nintendo has accomplished since, similar to how director Masahiro Sakurai treated Super Mario Bros. Ultimate as the franchise's the final magnum. It's possible we may never get a Zelda entry quite this good again. An overworld and underworld vehicles weapon fusion, themed dungeons, time reversal technology, the sheer amount of different elements packed into Tears of Kingdom is absurd, yet it all works together in a perfect harmony. Whether it's the last great Zelda title or just the first sequel in a bright new Zelda franchise, just know that I won't be putting it down until the next one. I hope you enjoyed the review. See you in another video and don't forget to subscribe in my channel. See you next time. Peace.